Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome back to Cricket Happenings. I've still not fully recovered, even though I am on my professional attire right now on this cricket show. That doesn't, that should not give you a feeling that I'm fully recovered. I've still not fully recovered from my sickness, but Cricket Happenings is something which I love to do, so today what we are going to talk about is the fourth one-day international between Australia and England. As you know, England were on the verge of actually equaling a record that was set back in 1993, 2001, where they lost 10 matches on the trot. But today, England definitely, not only did they save themselves from the ignominy of having equaled that record of 10 defeats on the trot, but on the other hand, they went on to notch up their first ever victory against Australia in one-day internationals after quite a long time. But what it did is that it stopped Australia from doing a clean sweep of the series as they did in the Ashes Test series. So that would give them a lot of heart. In fact, England did, and also definitely it could be, one could also attribute it due to the fact that the four major players were missing. As you know, Michael Clarke, Brad Haddin, David Warner and Shane Watson, all the four were actually rested from this match, and that definitely had an effect according to me. But one good thing that happened for England is that they had their first victory, and the way they did it was something which was truly good. In fact, England were the ones who actually batted first. This was on the very pacey and bouncy pitch at the WACA in Perth, and Australia were the ones who actually won the toss, and they decided to insert England. Now, the reason that they decided to insert England is not only because of the pace and bounce, but also there was a good breeze blowing. We could see the breeze was blowing pretty hard and pretty heavy breeze there, and that would have definitely aided the outswing of Mitchell Johnson and probably also James Pattinson. But it was a tough few overs to negotiate for the openers, Alistair Cook and Ian Bell. So they took their time, and they were aided by a lot of wide deliveries being sent because of the, as I said, there was a heavy breeze blowing here at the Western Australian Cricket Association. Probably it was the Fremantle's doctor, one as they call it, and that was blowing across the ground, and that was definitely aiding the swing of the ball. But what it was doing is that you had to control the swing, because the ball is really swinging pretty heavily there. But I thought Alistair Cook and Ian Bell definitely negotiated the first spell very well of Mitchell Johnson and James Pattinson, which was very important, and in a very sensible manner, after negotiating 4 overs in very nice style. Slowly it all started with Alistair Cook slowly showing what he had not shown in the previous matches, by getting to some very good nick, by hitting some very sweet boundaries. In fact, he was cutting well, he pulled well, and he also played some marvelous strokes. As you know, he's very good through the square side, square on the offside, and that's what he did. And he really gave some good treatment to James Pattinson's deliveries. And on the other hand, Ian Bell, he was also doing his best. In fact, he was really giving good company, and at times Ian Bell decided, and slowly what happened was, once the breeze relented, they could gauge the pace and bounce of the pitch, and then Ian Bell also started hitting some marvelous strokes. His driving was superb. He also carved James Pattinson, he carved Mitchell Johnson over third man, and he was not afraid to even come down to James Pattinson and hoik him over. So such was the control, and suddenly this England unit, the openers, for the first time had put on a very good score on the board. They had put 87 runs in 12 overs, 12.2 overs, which was marvelous batting according to me, considering the circumstances that they were in. And then finally the first wicket fell when Glenn Maxwell was brought into the attack. Now that was another shot which Alistair Cook, the English captain, would be definitely ruining the fact that he once again did the cardinal error of swiping across the line of the ball and missing it, and James Maxwell hit the stumps. So Alistair Cook bowled Maxwell 44 or 43 balls with 8 fours. That was the first wicket to go, which made it 87 for 1. After that, Ian Bell was joined in by Ben Stokes. Ben Stokes was, as you know, he came in one drop, and this was an ideal situation for Ben Stokes to come in, so he took his time to settle down and allowed Ian Bell to actually continue on with his stroke making, and Ian Bell continued as far as 55 was concerned. So there was another partnership which started blossoming, and that put on 51 runs, with Ben Stokes also stroking the ball pretty sweetly and fluently, as he has done in the past at the WACA pitch in Perth, where he actually collected his century, as you would know, his maiden century. So today it was a turn for him to have his maiden 50. Ian Bell was the next to go, as Christian had him caught by Faulkner for 55 or 52 balls with 9 fours, and then that was 138 for 2. So basically the openers had done a good job there. After that, Gary Ballance contributed 18 of 30 balls with 1 4. Ian Morgan making 33 of as many balls with 3 fours and 1 6. Ben Stokes, after getting his maiden 50, went on to make 70 odd runs of just 84, dealt with 6 fours and 1 6, and was a victim of Faulkner. And also the bowling, Nathan Coulter-Nile went for a lot of runs. Faulkner was also taken for plenty, and that was the time when, as I said, Alistair Cook and Ian Bell, after negotiating Mitchell Johnson and James Pattinson quite comfortably in the first phase of the innings, when the second string bowlers like Faulkner, second change bowlers like Faulkner and Nathan Coulter-Nile came, that was the time Bell and Cook charged the bowlers and started taking lots of runs away from them. Morgan contributed 33, Bopara was out for 3, and then it required the pyrotechnics of Joss Butler, and Joss Butler, definitely one saw the scoop shot coming to effect, but what was good to see was Joss Butler hitting the ball absolutely straight, and that was pretty good to see. And Joss Butler entertained this crowd, but in doing so, it took this England total to 316 for 8 of their 50 overs, with Joss Butler slamming 71 runs of 43 balls with 6 fours and 4 sixes. So 316. I'm sorry, dear fans, friends and subscribers, I'm sorry. So 316 for 8 of 50 overs was the score for England. Now the bowling, Johnson, he gave away 72 runs of his quota of 10. Pattinson, 8 overs, 1 for 63. It didn't make any happy reading. All the bowlers came in for some heavy tap. Faulkner, 10 overs, the most successful bowler, 4 wickets for 67 runs. Coulter-Nile didn't get his line right at all, 10 overs for 62 runs with a wicket to his name. Glenn Maxwell was the only bowler of whom one could talk about. He bowled 9 overs in a pretty nice fashion, giving away only 37 runs with 1 wicket to his name. And Daniel Christian bowled 3 overs, no maiden, 1 for 15. As far as Australia were concerned, Australia were concerned, well, they started off with opener Sean Marsh and Aaron Finch. And Sean Marsh was an early victim, as he was caught by Bell of the bowling of Bresnan for 15. After that, it was left to Aaron Finch to not only play the anchorman's role, but also get the strokes in between, because they had a huge score to chase of 317 to win the match. Matthew Wade struggled at the crease for some time, but once he got 23, he was gone of 42 balls with 1 4. And then Aaron Finch couldn't get someone who could really stand up with him and go on to probably contribute in a substantial manner. So what it did is it actually added up the pressure on Finch, and Finch actually, well, he waited. He cracked Bresnan for sixes. He hit James Treadwell for 2 consecutive sixes, and Smith contributed 19 of 16 balls with 2 fours and 1 6. Maxwell was the other highest scorer with 26 of 26 ball 2 4, but nobody was able to really go on and make a big innings and give company to Aaron Finch. And Aaron Finch was continuing in that way, but Aaron Finch finally, before Smith was gone at 174 for 4, Finch left when Australia 35.2 overs were bowled out, and Finch's wicket was taken by Bresnan after Finch went on to make his second century of the series, was caught by Broad of the bowling of Bresnan for 108 of 111 balls with 8 fours and 4 sixes. He was driving superbly, and as you know, Finch always likes to hit over the top. And Christian contributed 23. After that, the task became too difficult to handle, with Christian and Maxwell making 26 and Christian making 23 of 19 balls. And then probably at that time Faulkner entered when Maxwell was there. When Maxwell was out to 222 for 6, and probably Australia might have been expecting that this time once again James Faulkner will come to the rescue, but Ben Stokes, who was the bowler who took a lot of wickets, what he did is he actually got Faulkner to edge a ball to Butler behind the stumps of Stokes for 2, and when Faulkner's wicket was gone, that was the time England would have said that yes, they had the match in the bag, and yes, they definitely had the match in the bag, as after that it was pretty quick work. Tilton Oil was not out on 8. Johnson was last map. Johnson was castled by Stokes for 6, and Pattinson was our victim of Bresnan, and that was it. Australia set 317, finished at 259 all out, thus losing the match by 57 runs. And the one-day series now stands definitely Australia having the lead at 3-1, but at least England have salvaged something before in this one-day series. Now looking at the bowling, Chris Jordan had a lot of problems with his run-up yesterday, and he really struggled with his line, and he's only probably in the final spell I thought there was a bit of stability to his bowling. But Jordan gave away 57 runs of his 9 overs. Broad 10 overs, no maiden 256. Bresnan bowled well, 8.4 overs, no maiden 45 runs and 3 wickets. Treadwell bowled 5 overs, 26. But the man of the match was Ben Stokes for not only slamming his maiden 50, making 70 runs, but also going on to pick up 4 Australian wickets and bowling pretty economically either side. If you look at the bowling figures, he was the best bowler today. 9 overs, 1 maiden, 38 runs and 4 wickets. And Bopara had 1 for 32. Ben Stokes was named player of the match. So one thing, as I said, for England that they would be happy about is that they have got a victory under the belt. And even though the big names were not there, that was the time England had to take advantage. But definitely they didn't go this particular opportunity begging, and they took immense advantage out of it to really salvage something, with the one-day series now standing with at Australia 3, England 1. So congratulations to England. Now there is only one-day international, the final one-day international, which is coming up, and that would be played on Sunday at the, I think it is going to be played at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, if I'm not wrong. I just need to have a look at it. So hopefully that should be played. I'm not really sure about the ground, but yes, that is going to be played on Sunday, which will bring an end to the one-day international series. But one match which is coming up today, and this is we are talking about the third one-day international, which is coming up between India and New Zealand at Eden Park in Auckland. And now India are the ones who are under pressure, but after Australia lost yesterday, once again India hold the #1 ranking. Now whether they can maintain that by actually defeating New Zealand, because if at all India have to keep this one-day series alive, they have to beat New Zealand at Eden Park in Auckland. But Eden Park in Auckland is not going to be easy. The pitch is going to be much quicker than the previous pitch, which is Seddon Park, and it is not going to be easy. But for India, they have a lot of questions to answer, and whether India can put it across New Zealand. So now, looking at the pitch, well, the day forecast is pretty good, so we'll have a full game of cricket at Eden Park in Auckland. And India, well, as I said, the one thing I've been always saying that, and that has been something which has been lacking for India, is the opening start. The opening start is pretty essential for India. They have to get that opening start. If the opening start, as I said, if India has to keep the series alive, they have to win today's match, a must-win match for them. Otherwise, New Zealand would have taken the series. Now, as I said, Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan have to ensure that they put up a strong foundation on the board. It is very, very important that they do it. Now, whether they are able to do it, that is something that is very, very important according to me. So that will play a great role if at all India are going to win the third one-day international and keep the series alive. So the next, Virat Kohli, well, we all know Virat Kohli is in some great form. Mahendra Singh Dhoni and Virat Kohli, especially Virat Kohli, is in some pink form, and the New Zealand bowlers are finding it pretty difficult to stop him. But if the Indian openers could click, and then Virat Kohli could also click, and that could spell some very, very bad news for New Zealand. Ajinkya Rahane, limited opportunities. Ajinkya Rahane did well. Suresh Raina the other day scored an aggressive 35. So probably India are going to retain the same team. One has to wait and watch. But looking, and then they have Ravindra Jadeja. Now Ravindra Jadeja, well, as far as field and bowling is concerned, something he contributes. Batting is something we want. One wants Ravindra Jadeja to really contribute, because he's been lacking in that direction according to me in this series. And the bowling, barring Mohammad Shami and Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who have been doing well throughout, but the weak link has been Ishant Sharma. And one would have also looked at the comments that the former Indian commentator Sunil Gavaskar mentioned, that Ishant Sharma definitely needs to learn pretty quickly, because he is not able to really hit his straps. And looking at the pitch that is at Eden Park in Auckland, which is going to be much quicker than Seddon Park, will Mahendra Singh Dhoni, the captain of India, be tempted to bring in his Jharkhand teammate Varun Arun into the squad, because he is having some express pace, and he had a good nets yesterday. He had a long spell in the nets. Whether he would be inducted, so that is the question. And then Ravichandran Ashwin. Well, spin is something where New Zealand normally are weak, but well, they are able to really tackle Ashwin very well so far. And let's look at New Zealand. For New Zealand, it's a possibility that, looking at the quicker pitch, it could be the turn for Hamish Bennett, who is pretty quicker on the blocks, I would say, and he's the one who could probably replace Kyle Mills. Whether that is the right decision, one does not know. New Zealand, they also have been having some problems as far as the opening this is concerned. They have not been able to get some big partnerships, so they'll be hoping for a big one and try to thwart India's plans of going through them. Well, Kane Williamson, Ross Taylor, Brendan McCullum, Corey Anderson is another one which India would be vying. India knows that Corey Anderson has always stood in front of them, in the sense, in both the matches he has came on and slammed the Indian bowling to all parts of the ground to pick up some pretty quick runs, and that has really hurt India in a big way. So whether they would be in a position to have some new plans to actually stop Corey Anderson in his tracks. Otherwise it's going to be too late. Luke Ronchi has always looked good, coming in and chipping in at the last moment. And then the spin of Nathan McCullum, and the bowling, Tim Southee, Mitchell McClenaghan, they have been doing a fine job. The fielding has been absolutely brilliant. And looking at it, as I said, if India has to keep the series alive, they have to win this particular match. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how things pan out here at the Eden Park in Auckland. whether India can stop New Zealand from getting a 3-0 series lead, and also keeping the series alive by winning this match. Well, dear fans, friends and subscribers, I'm sorry for all the coughing that I did on this cricket show, but unfortunately this cricket show is something which I love doing. This is all for my dear friends and subscribers of Cricket Happenings, and and also those fans who watch this Cricket Happening show regularly, and also would like to become subscribers of this Cricket Happening show. Well, I don't have anything else to share. Thanks for your company, and thanks for your continuous support to the Cricket Happening show. Your host Ram will be seeing you tomorrow, and that on Saturday it's always a late night Cricket Happening show, as you know. So that's it from me, your host Ram, for the cricket show for today. See you all tomorrow. Thank you.